Hello, I'm PJ Bishop. Welcome to my channel and the ongoing series with the Oakland A's. As you can see, we're still not doing very well. We're 26-33, 11 games out of the division. It's a safe bet that we're probably not going to win this division. But due to the parity, we're still somewhat in the race for a wild card. Only 4 games out. So anything can happen. All it takes is one series against anybody ahead of us to bump up a spot, and then just kind of try to stay 500, maintain it, and then play a series against whoever's ahead of us, and hopefully you can just keep slowly but surely advancing up the ranks. You just don't want to drop any further. I think anytime you get to 5 games or more, you start to become into an insurmountable lead, especially a team like us. We're not really that good. We try to do the best we can with the sum of our parts. But our parts aren't always gelling. Sometimes one guy is really good, or a handful of guys are really good, and the other handful of guys are really bad. Rarely is the entire group really good, with maybe an exception of 1 or 2 guys. So saying that, the month of May was a pretty quiet one for us, especially on the injury front. It did heat up towards the end of the month when I started trading and moving players up and down. It's kind of once enough data has been put out on the guys to try to refresh them, find someone else that can fill that role until hopefully we can create a team that's good enough to compete and do some damage. Like I said, we're only 4 games out. It's not like we're out of the race just yet, and summer is just getting started. On the bad news front, we did lose, unfortunately, starting pitcher Freddie Tarnock had his rehab assignment cut short and ended up placing him on a 60-day IL. He's got a torn flexor tendon. He's expected to miss 8 months, or he's got 8 more months. He's missing the rest of the season, but if all goes well, he should be ready for spring training, the start of spring training. But it's unfortunate because he does look pretty good. I mean, although his ratings are going down, that's what happens when you miss so much baseball. Because he missed most of last season. He only played last season he played what? It's 19, what was it, 33, 34 innings or so? Or 35 innings. And then this year he managed to get 2.1 at AAA. So just really not being able to get his thing going. Just every time he tries to get rolling, he's getting hurt. It's unfortunate because he's fairly young, 25 years old, but he's missed out on his 24-year-old season. Now he's missing out on his 25-year-old season. And if you look at 2022 is the last time he really played over 100 innings. So his arm is just not getting trained. He's not able to play, not able to get any reps in. It's unfortunate. The worst part is we're paying him. But yeah, that's the worst news so far that we hit. I ended up optioning Kyle Muller to AAA Las Vegas, as I ended up selecting the contract of. This is all at the end of the month. Nothing happened during the month at all. I ended up selecting the contract of Gerardo Reyes. He was at AAA. He looks pretty good. He's got plus stuff, average movement, below average control. I wish he'd cut a sinker. His sinker's not like if he stuck to this fastball and slider, I think his rating would have been higher. But since he insists on throwing a sinker here and there, kind of brings him down a bit. But at the AAA level, he looked pretty solid. He had a respectable ERA at 3.46 and 26 innings of play and 15 relief appearances. Whip is fairly high, but wasn't giving up any home runs. Was walking a ton of guys, which I'm a little surprised because his control is just below average. It's not 40 or less. I mean, it's just below average. It wasn't striking out as many as you'd like to see him. You'd like to see him strike out in double digits with plus stuff. Hopefully he can bring it on and help us out at this level. Because as you can see, we need it. Of course, offensively, we're one of the worst offenses. 12th in runs scored. Last in batting average, second to last in on-base percentage, second to last on on-base plus slugging percentage. Home runs tied for 12th. At least we steal bases and we're good base running. But our pitching is also slacked. What was slightly a strength is now a weakness again. I mean, it's always been a weakness, but they were much better last month. Runs against is 14th. The starters have been getting hit hard. We're still trying to figure out our rotation, so it keeps getting moved around until we find 5 guys that can provide solid outings. Bullpen spiked up with their ERA up to 11th with a 4.2. I mean, it's all average. None of this looks terrible. This is why our record is kind of around average, or 500. Because as far as like the ERA is concerned and all that stuff, it's not that bad. Really, I mean, a couple of guys blew it up because they had some really bad outings, but if you take away the guys that were bad, I guess same thing for every team, so it's not really saying too much. Strikeouts, we were dead last in strikeouts, which I don't like. I'm someone who does try to pursue pitchers who can strike guys out. So being dead less in this category does irk me a bit, considering that's something I try to avoid. Our defense is playing meh. I mean, it's improved a little bit, but not by much. Maybe you'll keep improving month by month. Committing a lot of errors, which I don't like. I mean, I'm trying to play guys that should be able to fit in their position, because that doesn't help our pitching. Not playing good defense and committing errors is not helping us avoid runs being scored on when we're already struggling there. Third baseman Abraham Toro has been optioned to AAA Las Vegas. Third baseman Miguel Andujar has completed his rehab assignment, and he will be in the lineup. In fact, he's batting third versus righties. What do I have? I have him batting third versus righties and leadoff versus lefties. So we're excited to get him back. He had a pretty good-looking rehab there. Ended up leaving. I think I kept him there for like 13 games because he was struggling in the first week. He's finally turned it on in the last week, as you can see here. He's really gotten much better, which for me felt like it was time to bring him up once he was starting to pick up and get warmed up. That was a good idea to get him going. So that's that. That's why we brought him up. And then Oakland. So I agreed to trade with Cincinnati. I ended up trading 26-year-old left-handed pitcher Brady Basso in exchange for 34-year-old right-handed pitcher Fernando Cruz. I brought in Fernando Cruz because I like the fact that he's got really high stuff. And he's now our new setup, man. Like, he's got really high stuff. He's got above average movement. I mean, he's got nearly elite stuff. So I'm hoping this will help our strikeouts. Because currently, this season, he's at 11.0 per 9, which is really good. Although he has given up a ton of home runs. 2.7 per 9 is a lot. Not walking as many guys. You know, he's a reliever, so he's probably going to walk a little more, considering his elite stuff versus below average control. But he has given up way too many home runs, surprisingly. He must have given up some way earlier in the season. Hopefully he does not do that again with me, because we can't afford that, considering his high leverage situation that he's going to be in, or his high pressure situation, the late innings games. But he looks pretty good. I'm excited to see what he does for us. He's got an extremely respectable 3.04 ERA, 23.2 innings in 21 games. So he looks, in my opinion, it's a respectable line. We just got to curb down on the home runs given up, and then I think everything else will be fine. Just don't give up the home runs, and we'll be cool. He only has 2 earned runs in the last 5 outings. Really can't give up too many runs. So we'll see. Hopefully he fits in nicely with our group. And then I ended up. Then third baseman, a couple guys I ended up. Ross Stripling and Aldemus Diaz. I end up waiving them and designating them for assignment. They're just not good. They're not really doing much for me, and no one wanted them, so here they are in the reject pile. And then left-handed pitcher Francisco Perez had his contract selected. Francisco Perez is another guy that I like. Brought him up because I do like his nearly plus stuff. His above average movement. His control is what's going to hold him back. And his changeup, again, like, why even bother? Like, just get rid of it. Stick to your fastball and slider, and you'll be so much better. But your changeup is what's bringing you down. Like, it could be a better pitcher if it just wasn't for the changeup. I don't mind the control being low. It's fine. You come in, strike out the guys. You may walk a guy or two. And I'll have someone in relief ready to come in case that's happening. But look at his last 3 outings. This is AAA, so don't get overly excited. But 2 strikeouts, 3 strikeouts. I mean, every out he recorded in his last 4 outings, every out was at a strikeout. I like that. I like a guy that's on a roll like that. So he's on a roll, striking guys out. How was he doing at AAA? Again, a respectable 3.46 ERA. If he can just stick around that, average-ish with me, I'll be fine. Especially from somebody at the bottom of my bullpen option. One of the last guys out. But he wasn't giving up home runs. He was walking at a fairly high rate, which I expect with his control. And he was striking out exactly what I would like to see. I like 13.2 per 9 is good. That's a good rate. Keep it up. Hopefully you can stick to double digits still here in our bullpen. But I am excited that our bullpen is starting to shape up. Our pitching is starting to shape up. I'm not sure why he does that. JP Sears, you can see his ERA has blown up. He's had a rough going this month. Really, the last outings, you can see the last 5 outings, 3 runs, 2 runs, 3 runs, 3 runs. And then the big one against Tampa Bay with 10 runs given up in 4.1. He was actually doing fine until that final inning. He just couldn't hold him back and got absolutely blown up. So you can see he had a respectable ERA, well above, above average, 3.2, looking pretty nice, cruising along. And then bam, for nearly more than a run raised in just 1 outing. So hopefully he can revert back to where he was and show me more of his April form, less of his May form. Our number 2 guy is Adrian Martinez. He's been solid, remains solid again, 3.41 ERA. As Valdo Beto moves from the bullpen to the starting rotation, he's got a 2.95 ERA. So he's got a really good-looking ERA, but that's, again, out of the bullpen. So typically bullpen guys will have that because they're usually brought in what you consider favorable matchups. I mean, you're not bringing somebody in if you don't expect them to get the guys out. You bring them in when you feel confident that they are matched up with guys that they should take advantage of. So I am excited to see what he does as a starter, if he can at least maintain close to this, whether it's in the 3s. Hopefully, if he can stay above average, it'll be great from a guy that's 40 overall. Because I have him in my I had him until he got hurt. In the last few weeks, in real life, he was doing really well. I mean, doesn't mean it's going to translate to this game, but he was doing real well in real life. I had him for a little while. Now he's on my playoff injury list. We have that in my league. It's a very unique league. Alex Wood has shown so much improvement. He's down to a more manageable ERA at 5.22, something that I can at least live with, considering where it was. 5 starts ago it was at 7.34. We got it down to 5.22. His last 2 starts, no earned runs. We even got a quality start in here for a change. So he's starting to get his groove going. He's 33. Maybe just took him a time. Maybe his dog was not feeling good. I don't know. It's a dog lover. It's an interesting personality. How am I supposed to? What did I do with that information? Dog lover? Okay. All right. You're a dog lover. Well, how about you be a circle change practicer? Maybe get that better. Worry less about your dog, you dog lover. And then Mitch Spence, again, very solid for a 5th guy, 3.19 ERA. So the pitchers are looking pretty, like I said, they're looking solid. No one's like over the board ridiculous, but they're all fairly solid at this point. I can live with this. Their outings have been very respectable, with a few blow-ups here and there that have kind of ruined things. The bullpen I like. Mason Miller has been pretty good for me. Would like to see his ERA dip into the 2s, But the low threes isn't bad. 3-3. And he's striking out 12.6 per 9, so he's doing that job very well. And he's got 13 saves. As you can see, he's every now and then because he was in the twos, just had a bad outing here against Colorado, recorded no outs and gave up 2 runs. That might have been an extra inning game. And that's why, or he might have blown the save. I'm pretty sure it was an extra inning game. Oh no, maybe it wasn't because 2 earned runs. Because you don't get that. The guy on second base doesn't count towards an earned run. Did end up walking 3 dudes. Yeah, bad outing. Walk 3 guys. Yeah, I think he just straight up blew a save and lost the game for us. But we're hoping he gets better. His ratings are starting to take a big jump. His stuff might move up to 75. His movement looks like it could move to 60. His control might become an average rating. Like he could now, if he had higher stamina, he would be an awesome. I think he'll be an awesome starting pitcher. It's just his stamina isn't there yet. But he's only 25. Maybe if I work on it hard enough during the off season, we can get his stamina up. I think that would be pretty sweet because he's a really good looking pitcher. He's one of my best arms we have. And I envision he'll be a big part of our future. Of course, we discussed Fernando Cruz. We brought him in. Michael Kelly got demoted back to kind of a middle reliever spot. Not because he's not playing well. I mean, he's got a 3.16 ERA. Would like to see him again. I think he's a guy that should be striking out more than that per 9, but I can still, as long as you're respectable here, I'm okay with that. TJ McFarland, a guy that's a mop-up guy, has actually played really well. He doesn't strike guys out, but he doesn't give up too many runs. 3.68, so very respectable. Of course, Francisco Perez, we just called up. Austin Adams, another guy that's playing really well. 3.33 ERA, 11 strikeouts per 9. He's one of those guys I do have to bring in when there's no one on base. I can't have it because he's known to walk a few guys, but he's got elite level stuff. I mean, that is perfect grade stuff. It's just his control is so bad that I can't afford to use him in, late. I can't use him as a closer or setup because he's going to end up walking half the lineup. But in the 6th inning, 7th inning, he can come in, strike some guys out, and go sit down. And Joe Boyle was doing really, really well actually until it was like one outing, or maybe a couple outings that kind of blew his ERA up to 5.76. He's not striking out as many guys as I expected, especially somebody with his stuff as high as his, but he can still get better. As you can see here, his stuff could end up moving to elite level. Movement could be plus. His issue is his control. He could be a starter if he just had better control. If he can get his control, I mean, it's probably way too hard. He's got to get up to 35, 40. He's got 15 points of control is too much. I don't think it will happen. If he could have ever gotten his control up to like 45, I could live with 45 control as a starter. I can't do it as anything less than that, 30, 40. It's just too. You'll just be walking too many guys. As you can see, what's he doing right now? Yeah, he's walking 5 now per 9, which is a lot. I'd like to see him raise his strikeout rate a little. Make that a little, so I can live with that. Right? It's not even a 2-to-1 ratio right now. Make it 2-to-1 ratio. I can live with that. As you can see, if you can see here, he was in the 6s for a little while. I think even higher than that before. But he's given up too many runs here and there. When he comes in, he just consistently gives up 2, 2, 1. 3 of the last 5 outings, he's given up at least 1 or more runs. So that's the pitching. The pitching is, I think we're getting there. We keep adding pieces. We keep finding pieces, whether it's in our minor league, AAA affiliate, or whether we trade for the guy. I almost got a new starting pitcher, but the asking price was too much. They wanted Logan Wilson, which is a top prospect of mine. Oh no, they wanted Jacob Wilson. They wanted Jacob Wilson, and I wasn't ready to get. He's playing too well, and he's too valuable, I think, for me in the future. He's going to be an average machine. His contact is now graded out to plus. His avoid K is going to be nearly perfect. Power just below average, projected eyes below average, so he's not going to strike out. He's going to hit for average. He's going to have at least, I think he's going to have double-digit pop. At least 10 homers, 10, possibly 15, if he can get that power. And then, and he's dangerous on the base pass, and he's going to be a solid defender because we're going to have him at least average or better at multiple positions in the infield and outfield. So, talk about someone that has value. I couldn't trade. I couldn't give it up. Not when we're 4 games out. If we were in a wild card spot already, then yeah, I probably would have given up on him. Not given up, but I would have traded him away in order to try and get a better player and secure a playoff berth and possibly a World Series. Let's take a look at the lineup. See how our fellas are doing. Not too many call-ups and sit-downs, no trades. As you can see, Brent Rooker's on fire. He got his OPS up to 810. Low average, but high OPS because he's probably hitting not really a lot of home runs. 8 home runs. In real life, he is on a home run tear. He's actually really good. I think back-to-back years, he's actually put up pretty good numbers. What did he do last year? So we just compare it. Yeah, he had 30 homers last year. He's got what? I think same number. I think he's got 35 or 40 this year. He's done really well. But he's heating up for us. He's up to 810 OPS. He's got that power. He's got above average power. He got the gap power is what we need. Decent defender at first. J.D. Davis. Do I even have him? I do, probably against lefties. Decent veteran, hanging in there. He's a free agent at the end of this year. If we're out of the contention by trade deadline and he's still putting up respectable numbers, I will probably try to trade him for a prospect or two. It'll probably just be one prospect. I don't know if any team will need him or want him. But if his numbers do look good, or at least stay decent, I mean, you can't argue that he's got some value. Zach Geloff, my second baseman, I'm excited for this guy. I think he's got a really good future. Looks like he's getting better and better offensively. He's respectable, average, respectable on base. Everything's respectable, but he's hitting he's stealing a ton of bases. Currently, already has 40, on pace for 110. And I think if he stays healthy and continues hitting the way he is and gets on base, he's going to break 100 stolen bases this year. He's been one of my better players. Despite his overall, I think he, to me, is worth more than his overall because everything here lines up pretty darn well. This is my favorite part. And he's a solid defender. I would love to see him at third base where his arm strength can really come into play. Who else is doing well for us? J.J. Bleday, right fielder J.J. Bleday. I think he's back. I think he's starting. He's decent. I would like to see him pick it up a little bit more because he looks like somebody that should be hitting a little more homers. He is getting doubles. He could be on pace for a 2020 year. Looks like 19 homers and 22 stolen bases. So if he can just pick the home runs up a little bit, he might get himself a 2020, which is a pretty coveted number. Hitting 2020 is a good benchmark for any player. So hopefully he can get that. That's pretty much it for this lineup. We're heading into June, and this is the summer months. Things are heating up. The competition is heating up. The team is fairly healthy. No key injuries. We're only 4 games outside of a wild card spot. And you never know what could happen when you just keep plugging away, keep playing. And perhaps things can go our way if we stay healthy and the opposition gets hurt. So that's it for this video. I'll see you at the beginning of July.